रोशनी का कारवां.
This podcast is brought to you by Score Foundation.
ये है रोशनी, रोशनी, रोशनी का कारवां. रोशनी. Eyeway, ये है रोशनी का कारवां.
Hi, my name is George Abraham and welcome to Eyeway Conversations. My guest today is Sathish Kumar, a senior digital accessibility engineer. Satish, you've been a student of English language and literature and you transitioned into becoming a digital accessibility engineer. How did that happen?
When I was 7 years itself, I saw the first computer, and that's where my love for computers started. Because for me, it was kind of a magic. That's what I even sometimes still think. And during those days, I never saw any screen readers. I just saw this computer at my school. And then somewhere when I was finishing up my 10th standard, they bought a set of computers with screen reader when I was, and I got an opportunity to just do a show for Doordarshan, wherein I was just typing and they were shooting that. And then it stopped because elsewhere outside we did not have that opportunity. I went to study English language and literature and I finished MPhil. But before there was a time period between MPhil and MA, that is PG, wherein I went to NIVH and did a course on a computer and obviously screen reader and all that. So I also bought a computer to do my MPhil dissertation in 2006 itself. But somewhere in the time, I just thought my destiny is not going to be inside a college wherein I could become a professor and talk to students. I'm not saying the profession is not good, but it's just that I didn't want to restrict myself to that domain. So from 2008, I started searching for a job, and then I landed at Tata Consultancy Services, and I was working as a business skills consultant, trainer there. And in somewhere around 2010, I thought, okay, I should reshape my career because that was just about only business skills. So I started learning through one of my friends, digital accessibility, and we also had opportunities to talk to and train the same students, trainees at Tata Consultancy Services. Then in 2013, I came out of TCS and then I was working as a freelance consultant. And then somewhere in 2014, I got a training through Mitra Jyoti in Bangalore and SAP in partnership. And then wherein I was, I exposed my skills to the trainers and things like that. And then from there, I got picked up by another company, and then my career picked off as a full-time accessibility consultant.
You started your career as a business skills trainer. What does that mean?
Generally, business skills is in other way, if you want to say it's a soft skills training, that's what people want to call. But we would call it as business skills because soft skills is for life, but this is specifically meant for doing what you require in a corporate company. And so at Tata Consultancy Services, what happened was like we had people coming in from colleges as part of the campus recruitment, and thousands of new trainees would come, and they would undergo a rigorous training both in technical as well as non-technical aspects. That is technical and business skills aspects. So we were taking care of the business skills part. I was taking care of business skills part. And I was training them on first spoken written communication, because obviously corporate requires a more formal communication method. And so in that we covered email, and all other technical writing, and probably how to doing a conversation starters with clients and all that. And then we also train people on professional grooming, like how to dress up for an occasion, how to have a power lunch, team building skills, conflict management. So these are a few topics that we covered on those as part of the training. So that's how it was. Obviously, there were power presentations, and so we would put up those presentations. We would go along with a lot of real time stories. We'll also tell them the vision, value statement of the company, and then what is expected of them, how they will grow up in their career. And the career is not just about being developer or tester, but it is all about taking different turns in their career and all that. So that is what business skills was all about.
So you were training people who were sighted. How did they kind of respond to you?
So I'll just give you a small anecdote wherein what happened was in one of the sessions, some of the people who were from IITs were part of the training. So after the break, my session started. So a few people were, I think, having some um, bubble gums, and I just walked in. I took some two strolls, and I said, "Okay, from the third row, either the first, second, or third person, you're eating a bubble gum. I won't ask you to go out and spit it now, but from next class, please don't do that." So I said that because one is that, I mean, they would be obviously blowing bubbles, and other people would be watching instead of concentrating on the training. And even for themselves, it is not going to be a very good experience. I mean, when I chew a bubble gum, what I mean is that it's boring. So they were actually kind of taken aback or surprised at how you were exactly pointing out that particular person or the row. So it just needs that we need to be aware of our environment, just fine tune our senses and be careful with them. And once you start impressing with these small, I would say gimmicks, or tricks, or whatever we want to call, they would actually understand that, he may be a non-sighted person, but you can't actually mess around with those people because they know what to do and what not to do.
If you know of anyone with vision impairment who needs guidance on living life with blindness, please share the Eyeway National Toll-Free Helpline number 1-800-5320-469. The number is 1-800-5320-469.
Satish, you've been working now in a corporate world for nearly 14 years. You would have seen a lot of opportunities or possible opportunities for people who are blind in the corporate world. Would you like to share your views in terms of what are these opportunities that you think exist in the corporate world for blind people?
Um, so one area I've seen people working is HR, wherein people take learning and development, which is part of that human resources section department, and they train people on different things. It can be training people on diversity, training people on other corporate subjects and all that. And we can also do recruiting because I know people who are part of the recruitment teams. Onboarding, I wouldn't suggest as part of human resource because you need to deal with a lot of documentation, and we need to see that. So it's better not to take up that one because it's a bit challenging. But recruitments, yes, we can arrange interviews, screen profiles, call people and ask them if they are okay to attend interviews and all that. That is all quite easy because if the platform wherein you are scheduling interviews or screening interviews are accessible, I think people can take that up. And then I would say a lot of people have done their MBAs in corporate HR plus. Some people have done. I know some people who have done financing also. And what I understand as financing is, a lot of people think, oh, it's math, so I don't want to do. But I don't think that's the right way to say because uh, I've seen people who became late blind are taking up these subjects. So mathematics is all about brain. It's not about eyes, I would say. And we are not anyway financing. We are not going to deal with algebra and all that stuff. So we can still do corporate financing. we can become part of that. I and also I feel that even business analysts are very good to say, to think about, and then a few people have taken up developer role.
This is
um,
what software development.
yeah, software development, and particularly now the recent development which I heard just last week is all about data science, and a few people are working on that. And um, and then there are a few people who are working as part of the um, QA, that is quality audit or quality control or whatever they want to call. uh, they can become testers, functional testers. They can do manual testing as of now. And I would say that if they are interested, really, they can also become a Salesforce admin. Salesforce is a kind of a packaged software that deals with everything. Like you can log a service request. It's a CRM. It has CRM, a customer relationship management applications, and all that. Even people can work on that as in that area. Um, the only thing is we need to have the right training before we take up that job.
Satish, I just wanted to know if you were to advise a blind person who wants to join corporate India, what is the kind of preparation he needs to do in terms of skills, uh, in terms of knowledge, in terms of generally in terms of preparation?
So, one thing that I wanted to bring to the table is that first is the social skills.
Yeah.
And when I mean social skills, what I say is that we are all good talking to another blind person, or maybe in a group or a community.
Yeah.
We don't feel threatened, or we don't feel insecure about it. But somewhere down the line, when people say that, uh, no, I'm working with the sighted folks, people have this idea that, oh, sighted folks are entirely different. How are we going to deal with them? So I think we should shed that kind of inhibition. And during college days itself, people have to go and make friends with sighted folks, understand that world also, because that world is not entirely different from our world, I would say.
Yeah.
It's just that the way we learn and the way they learn, the way we interact or the way they interact can be a bit different. But at the end of the day, all of us are having, dealing with the same human emotions at the end of the day. And second is communication, because a lot of uh, people from city are okay, I would say, because like they are able to communicate, and people who are late blind also have a very good moderate education. They have that opportunity. But what I understand is sometimes when people are blind from childhood, and if they are coming from, particularly rural background, they need to work on their communication. And above that, they need to work on their soft skills. They need to update themselves with recent developments, and set their goal.
To support our work with the blind and visually impaired, you can visit the donate page on our website www.scorefoundation.org.in. Please note www.scorefoundation.org.in.
You've also been a public speaker. You've done some public speaking, and I was reading that you had been to Los Angeles to be part of CSUN. Uh, Tell us a little bit about that. About how did that happen, and what did you speak about, and how was it received by the people there?
So when I started my accessibility journey, I started at TCS, but obviously the full-time thing picked off in Bangalore. Then I moved to Hyderabad with the top accessibility agency. And I met another person in that company who was actually really motivating me to go for writing papers and all that, because he saw that I was speaking well, I was asking right questions, and I was also able to write well. He motivated me to apply for this one for the first time. And my first presentation was out of the experience that I had in a project. So it was not something that I did research or anything. It was all about how we fixed a particular WordPress site. Even I was also speaking to a global audience for the first time, because that conference was, it is an international conference. It has gained an international popularity among accessibility community. But since I had already stage exposure, I didn't feel anything, uh, I was not edgy about that one. I went and I spoke, and I made sure that the audience interacted with me. It is not like I saying everything 100%. No. So presentations must be interactive. That's one of the things I learned in my during my soft skills training too.
Yeah.
So I practiced and they started really liking the presentation. At the end of the presentation, people came, they took my card. A few people asked different questions, and I got a good feedback.
Satish, I also believe that you are a blogger. So, what do you write about? Where do you write it? If people want to read your blog, how can they access it?
So I didn't write I haven't written a personal blog. I mean, I don't have a site on my own, but I am an author and a co-editor of one of my friends' site called www.digital11y.com. So this particular site we are running to make sure that accessibility is made simple for everyone. So people who want to learn, people who want to grow their career, be it be it disabled or non-disabled, we wanted to make sure that whatever we learned, we put them in simple words, and they can learn from that. So that was how this started. And after he saw my written communication, he asked me to write blogs in that one, and I started writing, particularly in technical topics and accessibility. But I do have certain write-ups on my of my own. So far, I haven't published. One of my friends told me that she would give me a slot for to publish. So main thing was they are all motivating me to start a personal blog, um, because my topics are a bit wide. I do some film review, or sometimes I go with music reviews, or sometimes I go with the technology, not just accessibility, but maybe talking about a software or all that with people. And people always say that better, why don't you write this down probably, and publish it as a blog. So it is still in the pipeline. Maybe one day that would become a dream. I mean, dream come true. That's all.
So, Satish, you also were telling me that you're interested in music, you're interested in audio editing, and you're also interested in beatboxing. I wonder what that is. Tell us a little bit about those interests of yours.
So beatboxing is nothing but playing rhythm with your vocal cords and your mouth. That's all. And so usually there are many people who do that. I never learned this art. I never even thought about this. During my college days, it was one of the hostel day function wherein I first demonstrated this, and people started um, liking that one, and that was how this beatboxing started. I never went to any competition or anything, because I just do it because I love music. That's all. It was not meant for competing with people and all that. And the second thing is, yeah. So when I was a kid, like I would used to sing a lot, and I used to go to competitions from my school itself. And it was a really good exposure, because we used to compete with sighted, non-sighted, everyone. And that's how I know that was a very good opportunity. But um, somebody told my dad not to motivate me in music, because otherwise I would be taking a keyboard and um, walking like a, you can say that, probably a gypsy, and will be wandering and all that, because those days um, visually impaired people, not many were educated, or many were taking up employment. So then when I moved to my higher secondary side, they taught us keyboard. We had a very good orchestra, and I was part of the band too. But then I never bought anything on my own. Then 11th, 12th went with just a Casio keyboard of somebody gifted me. Then during my college days, I got my first keyboard, and we got uh, me and my roommate, and there was one more guy who we formed a small band. So one guy was used to, they're all sighted people. So one guy used to play mouth organ, the other guy was guitarist and I was a keyboard. So we keyboardist. So we created a piece of our own and we played it in one of the Christmas celebration event in college. And the professor was a music director there, and he appreciated that effort. And that's how it all started. And but then when I started going to my work, I couldn't carry that forward because I was traveling to different places, so I couldn't carry such a big keyboard and all that. So it kind of stopped. Now that I bought an Apple Mac computer which has GarageBand, which is a music production software. It is not like it's a minimalistic music production software, I would say. And from there, I have started playing music on my own, and I've not done a full production of anything so far because I need a full-fledged, at least a MIDI controller or some device to do that. um, but once I settle down, because it's a work from home situation, and I'm still in my native, and I can't continue being here because opportunities will not come if I am stagnated here. So I have to move out. Once I settle down, probably I would buy a professional device, and then I would start working on that.
Satish, it's been wonderful talking to you. It's a pleasure, in fact. And you've done a lot in a limited amount of time, and you have a good perspective of life. I wish you the very best. And as you go forward, may you climb heights and be an example and inspiration for many more to follow you.
Eyeway, ये है रोशनी का कारवां.
This podcast was brought to you by Score Foundation.
ये है रोशनी, रोशनी, रोशनी का कारवां. रोशनी. Eyeway, ये है रोशनी का कारवां.